Welcome back. Shano Farnan, the Supreme Court reporter for the Talk Radio News Service, our associate producer. We get to share him with them. And Shano, you were in the Supreme Court this morning, listening to the arguments, watching. First of all, the fact that these guys, men and women, do not allow cameras in the court just proves to me that we really do live in a constitutional monarchy, and that they are the kings and queens, and they will not allow little people to see them. Or hear them, originally even to hear them.
And think about how difficult it is to get in. You had people lining up outside over the weekend, and I know I had to reserve a press seat, and it was just a reservation. I wasn't guaranteed a seat a month in advance.
Wow.
So what I will say, though, is if you go over to the SupremeCourt.gov, go under oral arguments, you will find the audio there, and you will find the printed transcript. So you can listen along, watch the transcript, listen along. You'll know who's saying what.
Right.
You get a really good idea of what was argued there. If you're interested, if you're so inclined, I encourage everyone to do that.
So
that is a great window in.
Let's listen to some of the things that you heard today that you thought were noteworthy. You want to share with us what we're hearing?
The first clip is Justice Scalia talking about jurisdiction. Scalia and Roberts were really upset that the president and the attorney general would not defend DOMA.
Right.
Scalia even referred...
Well, may I put a finer point on that?
Sure.
Not just that he wouldn't defend it, but that he was also still enforcing it.
Right.
Basically, weren't they saying, if you don't like this law, then just stop enforcing it, let somebody sue you, and then we'll have an actual case in front of us.
Right. And Justice Scalia referred to when he was at the Office of Legal Counsel, how there was an opinion from that Office of Legal Counsel that the Attorney General shall enforce and defend all laws.
Right.
Meaning he should be forced to do this to defend them. But this is Scalia saying, why in the world are we here? Are we just here for fun?
Really, that's very peculiar. When both parties to the case agree on what the law is, just for fun, the district judge is going to have a hearing?
And here's Justice Roberts actually calling out the president for enforcing an unconstitutional law, just what you were talking about before this.
I would have thought your answer would be that the executive's obligation to execute the law includes the obligation to execute the law consistent with the Constitution. And if he has made a determination that executing the law by enforcing the terms is unconstitutional, I don't see why he doesn't have the courage of his convictions and execute not only the statute, but do it consistent with his view of the Constitution, rather than saying, we'll wait till the Supreme Court tells us we have no choice.
This was basically Thomas Jefferson's argument when in 1803, when Marbury versus Madison. I mean, he was, each branch of the government should decide for itself what is or isn't constitutional and act on that decision. And if the people disagree with them, they will throw the bums out. And if the people agree with them, they'll reelect them. And so if the president thinks this is an unconstitutional law, he should direct the IRS to recognize, people in states that have acknowledged gay marriage as being legally married and give them deductions and inheritance rights.
Exactly. And
I agree with Jefferson, and weirdly, I agree with Justice Roberts.
And if there is some kind of great injustice in a specific, very narrow case between two people, that's what the courts are for. But they don't. The courts aren't there to say, here's the rule for everyone, just in this one case.
So, in a way, what Justice Roberts was saying was the president's wimping out here.
He was calling him out. He definitely was, but then he, way later, and I don't know if we'll have time to play this because it's about a 2-minute clip, he really got into the politics of it. That this was the gay lobby. And they are so powerful now that that's where this sea change has come from.
Robert said that?
Robert, 2-minute. I guess there was probably a little bit of extra time with one of the I don't remember which attorney it was, but he went into a very long discussion of his opinion about where the sea change came from. It was a lot of money being dumped into a lot of same-sex marriage proponent lobbyists.
Well, that's true. I mean, was he complaining about that, or was he celebrating it?
He was saying that the society hasn't changed because they're becoming better and more open. The society is changing because they're being told to by a bunch of lobbyists.
Oh, that's weird.
They're not opening people's minds. The minds are being opened for them and because a lot of money has been paid and a lot of time, because they're very, quote unquote, powerful. Right.
So Roberts is of the opinion that our opinions are up for sale, that the younger generation's acceptance of gay marriage is not because more and more people are coming out and people are discovering that there are gay people in their family. Oh, my God, never knew it. But instead...
But to lace that together with what that clip we just played, if you link those two together, he's saying the president is a victim of that as well.
Right. So Roberts is, sees a gay conspiracy here, apparently.
Apparently.
So, Justice Kennedy, what's this clip number 2 here?
Let's play number 3. This is great. This is Justice Ginsburg talking about the ridiculousness and what would happen if with keeping this uniform, quote unquote, uniformity is a good thing, but this is what would happen if you kept that federal law.
As Justice Kennedy said, 1,100 statutes, and it affects every area of life. And so you would be really diminishing what the state has said is marriage. You're saying, no, state, there are 2 kinds of marriages, the full marriage and then the sort of skim milk marriage.
Right. So this is she's talking about how because the IRS doesn't recognize gay marriages, even though some states do, in those states where you have gay marriage recognized, you have a marriage, but it's a skim milk marriage.
Right. Exactly. And this is really what the 2 arguments down, Justice Kagan summed them up. What's the purpose behind DOMA? Is it some kind of animus towards same-sex people, same-sex couples, or is it for uniformity? This was
animus, in my opinion.
They actually talked about how they wanted to, what's the term, morally. Wow, I wish I have it in my.
Well, DOMA was an attempt to say, we're gonna get rid of the gays, or gay marriage, or we're gonna make sure that it can't.
But in the congressional record for DOMA, one of the Congresspeople said that DOMA was there to express the moral disapproval of same-sex marriage. So that's what they were.
So thus animus. Animus is a Latin word for hatred,
and animus is not a good enough reason.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Do we really think that Congress was doing this for uniformity reasons, or do we think that Congress's judgment was infected by dislike, by fear, by animus, and so forth?
Yeah, that's the question.
And in fact, the congressional record indicates that it was the latter.
At least for some of the Congress people.
At least for some Congress members. Yeah. And yeah, very interesting. Okay, we'll come back. We'll play that longer clip of Justice Roberts. I'm really curious to hear him going off on the political lobbyists. Pick up some phone calls and continue with our conversation about what happened in the Supreme Court today. Stick